Hey guys, Miss Shelley here. Our next lesson, we're going to talk about mean, median, mode, and range. So we're going to start by diving into mean. What is mean? Well, the definition for mean is mean can also be referred to as average. So mean or average is the sum of all the values in a data set divided by the total number of data values in the set. So basically what that means is you're going to add them all up together. You're going to take your answer and you're going to divide it by the amount of numbers you added up. So let's take a look at an example. So we have this example here. We're going to use this example through all of our definitions. Mr. Varney asked the students how many states they had traveled to or lived in. Find the mean or average for the class. So the first thing we want to do is we need to add up all the numbers. So I'm actually going to go to another sheet of paper to add them up because there's a lot of numbers. So let's come on over here and let's add them up. So that's going to be, now there's a couple ways you can add them. Some people like to add them straight across and go down, adding two at a time. Some people, like I'm going to do, add them all in a vertical method. I'm going to show you the vertical, but no, there are different ways you can add them up. Whichever way you want to add them, as long as you get the right answer, is good. So let's see. Now, when you are adding like this, you want to make sure that you are keeping the numbers in order of their place value, okay? So if you have two numbers, you don't want to write them so close together. Like for instance, 10, I want to make sure that I know that the 0 goes with all the other numbers and the 1 is a separate column. So 1, 2, 4. Now, this is the tricky part. This is where most people are going to start making mistakes, is because they're going to miss numbers or they're going to forget some. So the way I like to add them is I like to add and I keep a running total down the side. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start at the top. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. You see how I'm writing them off to the side? Actually, I'll even do that in a separate color so you can see. All right, 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 plus 10 is 28. 28 plus 7 is 35. 35 plus 1 is 36. 36 plus 2 is 38. 38 plus 4 is 42. 42 plus 1 is 43. 43 plus 2 is 45. 45 plus 7 is 52, 52, sorry. 52 plus 2 is 54. So I'm going to write my 4 in my ones place. I'm going to carry my 5 over here. And now I can add 5 plus 1, which is 6. 6 plus 1, which is 7. So I get 74 as my final answer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of those numbers and I'm going to come over. I need to count and see how many numbers I had. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that means I'm going to do 15 divided by 74. All right, so let's see. How many times does 15 go into 7? Well, 0. How many times does 15 go into 74? I don't know that one off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to pick a random number and multiply that by 15. So I'm going to come over here, down here, and I'm going to do 15 times 3. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So that gives me 45. I think I can get a little closer. Let's try. So let's try 15 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Oh, not 2. What am I thinking here? That's a 6. All right, let's see if we can get any closer. Let's do 15 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Oh, so I went over. So I'm going to have to stick with 4. So let's do 4 up here. So that's 4 times 15 is 60. So I need to subtract. So 4 minus 0 is 4. 7 minus 6 is 1. Okay, well, I have to keep going, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my decimal, and then I need to pop it up. Pop, pop, pop it up. Pop that decimal right on up. I can add a 0 and bring it down. So now I have 15 goes into 140. Whew, that's a pretty big number. I know that 15 times 10 would be 150 because all I have to do is add a 0. So let's do 15 times 9. 5 times 9 is 45. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 4 is 13. So that gets pretty close. So let's do 9. 9 times 15, like I said, like we did down there, was 135, and now I can subtract. I can't do 0 minus 5, so I need to borrow from that 4, make that a 3, and put my 1. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I have 5. So I need to add another 0. I'm going to bring it down, and that gives me 50. Well, I'm going to look down here at all my numbers, and what number is closest to 50 without going over? And that's going to be my 3 right here. So I'm going to put a 3 here. That's going to give me 45. I can't do 0 minus 5 again, so I need to borrow, make that a 4, put my 1. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 4 is 0. Add another 0. And I think we can start seeing that this 3 is actually going to repeat. It's always going to give us a remainder of 5. So we're going to leave our final answer then at 4.93 repeating. So my average is 4.93 repeating. So all we need to do when we do the average is we add them all up, and then we take that number and divide it by the amount of numbers that we added together. Okay, so that's mean. So let's move on and talk about median. What is median? Median is the measure of the center. It is the middle data value. To find it, we need to order the values from least to greatest and then find the middle value. Okay, so once again, we have Mr. Varney, and he has asked the students how many states they've traveled to or lived in, but this time we're going to find the median. So first thing we need to do is we need to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's start. So I don't have a 0 here, so I'm good, but I do have a 1, so we'll put that. Make sure I don't have any other 3, 5, 2, 5, 2. Oh, I got another 1. Do I have any more 1s, or am I all good? Nope, there's another 1. So I have no more 1s, so I'm good. So now I can move on to 2s. So let's see, do I have any 2s? Oh, there's a 2. Let's see, do I have any more? Oh, I got another 2. Any more 2s? Oh, another 2. Any more 2s? Yep, another 2. Okay, so now we can move on to 3s. Do I have any 3s? Oh, I got a 3. Any more 3s? Any more 3s? No more 3s. So I'm good on 3s. I can move on. So let's look for 4s. Any 4s? Yep, got a 4. Now you'll notice as I'm looking for my numbers, I'm marking them off as I find them. I do this to make sure that 1, I get all of the numbers in order, and 2, I get them so I don't repeat any numbers, okay? Because if you repeat a number, it could mess up what your median's gonna be. So I'm no more 4s. Now I can move on to 5s. I got a 5 here. I got a 5 here, and that looks like that is all of my 5s. Okay, so now do I have any 6s? I feel like I'm playing Go Fish. Go Fish, no 6. Do I have any 7s? Oh, there's a 7. Do I have any more 7s? There's a 7. Do I have any 8s? Nope. All I have left now, you can see, are 10 and 11. So I'll just put those in numerical order. 10 and then 11. So as you can see now, all of my numbers are crossed out. All 15 numbers are in numerical order, in order from least to greatest. So now what I need to do is I need to find the number that's in the middle. So this is how I do it. I go one number at a time on each side. So if I mark this number, then I'm going to mark this number. If I mark this number, I'm going to mark this number. Then I'm going to just keep doing that and keep marking each number on each side until I've made it to the middle. And that leaves me with 3. Now, another way you can do it is you can count and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 numbers. That is an uneven amount. So I need to go down 1. So subtract 1. That'll give me 14. So that means that there will be 7 numbers on each side. So I can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that leaves me at this 3 right here. That's another way you can do it. So as you can see, there's multiple ways to do this. It's just going to be the way that you find the easiest. So remember to find the median, line them up in order from least to greatest, and then find the one that's in the middle. Okay, so now let's move on to mode. Mode. I like mode. Mode is another measure of the center. It's the value that occurs most often. You can kind of remember mode and most because they both have MO. They both start with MO. Mode most mode, mode most mode. So a data set can have one mode, no modes, or it can have more than one mode. Okay? So once again, there are multiple ways that you can figure out how many times they repeat. You can line them all up in order like we did over here on our median, and you can group them and say, okay, there's 3 here, there's 4 here, there's 1, there's 1, there's 2, there's 2, there's 1, and there's 1. So then that means that 4 has to be the biggest. Or you can do it the way I do it. So this is how I do it. That way I don't always have to line them up from least to greatest. Is I'll just go in order and I'll do a tally mark every time I reach that number. So I'm going to start with 1. So I have 1, 1 right now. I have 1, 3 right now. And I'm just going to keep going like this until I've covered all of my numbers. So that's a 2. You'll notice once again, every time I give it a tally mark, I'm going to mark that number off because again, I don't want to recount those extra numbers. Now I have 2 5s. Oh, there's another 2. Now I have a 10. Oh, I got a 7 now. Oh, another 1. So put another tally mark. I got a 2. 4 now, so let me add 4s over here. My mode's not 4, by the way. I don't know why I wrote that. It's actually 2. Ugh, Michelle's losing her mind tonight. Another 1, another 2, a 7, and a 12, which I don't have 12, so we'll do 12 here. All right, so now I'm just going to see who has the most tally marks. So the one has 3, 1, 2, 4. 4 tally marks is my biggest. So once again, either way, you can do tally marks like we did here, or you can write them in numerical order like we did here and put them in groups so you can see. Once again, any way is fine. Whichever way gets you to the right answer of 2, that's the way that I want you to do it. All right, and then the last one example that we're going to talk about is range. What is range? Range is actually a measure of, variability. So a measure of variability describes how the values in a data set vary within a single number. Okay, so the range is the difference of the greatest value. And what does difference mean again? It means to subtract. So we're going to subtract the greatest value from, or the least value from the greatest value. So what that means is we want our biggest number, and we're going to subtract our lowest, smallest number from our biggest. So let's figure out what is our biggest number, okay? 1, 3, 5, 2, no. 5's biggest so far. 2, 10, that's the biggest so far. 7, no. 1, no. 2, no. 4, no. 1, 2, 7, 12. There we go. So 12 is our biggest number. What is our smallest number? Well, that's going to be easy. That's 1. So 12 minus 1 is 11. So my range is 11. That's all you're doing. So let's take now and let's practice finding the mean, median, mode, and range. All right, so let's look at this example. It says find the mean, median, mode, and range. The number of hours of TV watched in a week. So let's start and let's first find our mean, okay? So I'm going to label mean up here so that way I can keep all of my work in order. Now remember, to find the mean, all you're going to do is you're going to add all of those numbers up. So let's add them up. So I have 7, I got a 10, I have a 16, I have a 9, a 12. Make sure, like, once again, you're keeping them in nice columns, okay? 8, a 13, and a 15. Remember, if you want to add it up differently, that is fine. I'm just adding it up the easiest way for me. So 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 plus 9 is 22. 22 plus 2 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. 25 plus 4 is 29. 29 plus 8 is 37. 37 plus 3 is 40. And 40 plus 5 is 45. So I'm going to drop my 5, and I'm going to carry my 1. So now I can just add straight down my other column. 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. 11 plus 1 is 12. So my final answer is 125. Now what I need to do is I need to count how many numbers do I have. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 numbers. I'm going to take that number and I'm going to divide it into 125. Okay, so how many times does 10 go into 1? 0. How many times does 10 go into 12? Once. 1 times 10 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. Drop my 5. How many times does 10 go into 25? 2 times. 2 times 10 is 20. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 2 is 4. 0, sorry. So I have a remainder. What do I need to do when I have a remainder? Because I'm in middle school now. That's right. You got to add your decimal and pop it up. Pop, pop, pop it up. Pop that decimal right on up. Since I popped my decimal up, I can now add a 0 and bring it down. How many times does 10 go into 50? 5. So 5 times 10 is 50. 50 minus 50 is 0. So my mean equals 12.5. I'm going to put a little box around that so that way I know my mean is 12.5. So now let's move on to finding our median. Now remember, to find our median, what I want to do is I'm going to line up all of my numbers in order from smallest to biggest, from least to greatest. Okay, so let's see. What is my very smallest number? 7, 10, 16, 9, 12. Looks like 7. So 7 is going to be my smallest number. So I'm going to put a little check mark there. After 7, do I have an 8? I do. So 8. Okay, what about any more 8s? Nope. What about any 9s? 1 9. Any more 9s? No. Okay, what about 10s? I got a 10 right there. Any more 10s? No. Any 11s? Once again, it's like you're playing a game of Go Fish with yourself. No 11s. Any 12s? Yes, definitely a 12. Any 13s? Yes, one 13. What about 14s? Any 14s? Yes, one 14. Good. Okay, what about 15s? Any 15s? No, oh, 115 all the way down here at the bottom. See how hard it can be? This is why we put check marks, because it's easy to just look over a number. All right, any 16s? Yes, a 16. And that leaves me with one number left, and that number is 21. All right, so remember, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can add all the numbers, and we know there's 10 numbers. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so we can go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go over 5 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that puts me in the middle of two numbers, 12 and 13. Okay, so let's take a look. What is in the middle of 12 and 13? Well, there's not a whole number there. So think about if you had a number line. You're here at 12. You want to go all the way over to 13. So we know that after the 12, in order to get to 13, we know we're going into our decimals. So we know that after 12 comes 12.1. After 0.1, we have 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and then finally 0.9, and then we get to 13. So if I'm looking at this, I see that I have four numbers on this side and four numbers on this side. So in between 12 and 13 is 12.5. So whenever you don't have a whole number, when you have two numbers that are right next to each other, like 12 and 13, you have to get out and start looking at your decimals to find the number in between. Luckily, whenever we have two numbers and they're right next to each other for 12 and 13, we really don't even have to do a number line because we know in between 12 and 13 is 0.5. So my median is, I'm going to erase that, put it closer, 12.5. Good. So now let's look at my mode. I need to see, do any of my numbers repeat? Well, I can look up here at my numbers that I did in my median, and I can see, group them in their numbers. So I have 7 here, that's a 1. I have 8, 1, 9, 1, 10, 1, 12, 1, 13, 1, 14, 1, 15, 1, 16, and 1, 21. So they're all 1. Did I have any numbers at all that repeated? No. Remember, mode is the most. What number repeats the most? And since none of my numbers repeated, my mode is none. Remember, mode most. What number repeats the most? Median, you can kind of think about median, kind of sounds like medium, in the middle. Median, middle. Mode most. So now let's talk about our range. Let's come change our color over here. Let's get a different color. Let's go with let's do pink. Okay, so to find my range, I'm going to do greatest minus smallest. So I can come back up to my median numbers that I did, and I can see that my biggest number, my largest number is 21. My smallest number is over here at 7. So that means all I need to do to find my range is to do 21 minus 7. Now I can't do 1 minus 7, so I need to borrow from that 2 and make it a 1, which will turn that 1 into an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. 1 minus nothing is 1. So that means that my range is equal to 14. And there you have it. You have solved mean, median, mode, and range. So let's keep going. Let's do some more practice. So I have these 3 classes of students, Mr. Green, Miss Nesbitt, and Miss Jackson. Then I've broke down how many boys each teacher has and how many girls each teacher has. So let's look at our first question. Our first question says, what is the mean number of boys in the 3 classes? So let's do that first. So let's do boys over here. Now, remember, to find the mean, you're going to add up all 3 numbers. So you're going to do 15 plus 12 plus 12. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. And add up all 3 numbers. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So that gives me 39. There are a total of 3 numbers here. So that means that I need to divide 3 into 39. 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring my 9. How many times does 3 go into 9? 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. So there is an average of 13 boys in each class. So now I can go to my second question. What is the mean number of girls in the 3 classes? So let's come over here and let's do girls. So I need to add up my girls. That would be 14 plus 12 plus 16. Oh, I don't know why I just did a plus sign again. And 16. So let's add my numbers. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. Drop the 2, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So that leaves me with 42. Now, once again, there are 3 numbers here. So that means I need to take that 3 and divide it by 42. 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring down the 2. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. So, go back and let's do my final answers. So, there is an average of 13 boys in each class and an average of 14 girls. So 13 boys and 14 girls, and that's my total answer. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to see what is the mode of the number of girls in the 3 classes. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to count and see, do any of my numbers repeat? Well, I have 14, I've got 12, and I have 16. I got 114, 112, and 116. Do any of my numbers repeat? No, because remember, mode is the most. What number shows the most? And that would be none, because they are all 1. Okay, so now let's go to our third question. What is the median number of students in the 3 classes? Now, we'll notice it says of students. It doesn't say boys and it doesn't say girls. So that means I'm going to look at all 6 numbers. So I need to put them in order from least to greatest. So what is my smallest number? 15, 12, 12, 14, 12, 16. Out of those 6 numbers, 12 is my smallest. So that would be 12. I got a 12 there. I got another 12 underneath it. Miss Nesbitt, she's got 12 girls, so there's another 12. Any 13s? No, go fish. Any 14s? Yes, a 14. Any 15s? Yes, Mr. Green's class. And any 16s? Yes, I got 116. All right, so now in order to find my mode, I need to find what number's in the middle. So this time, instead of counting and dividing, I'm going to go one side 1, one side 1, one side 1, one side 1. So that leaves me with 12 and 14. So I'm going to write those numbers out, okay? I'm going to count 12, then there's a 13, and then there's a 14. So within those three numbers, what number is in the middle? Well, if I have a 12 on this side and a 14 on this side, that leaves me with 13 in the middle. So the median or the middle number for the students in the three classes is 13. All right, good guys. Let's step it up a notch. Let's go and look at the wonderful world of figure skating. So I've got this awesome chart of a U.S. figure skaters' scores. So I have some judges, some technical marks, some presentation marks, and a total score. So let's go ahead and do my first question. It says, what is the mean for the technical score? Remember, mean is average. So in order to find the mean, I'm going to add them all up and then divide by the number I added. All right, so let's go ahead and let's write all of our numbers. So I have 5.9, 5.8, 5.8, because remember this says technical, okay? Technical marks, I'm only looking at this column. 5.6, 5.9, 5.6, and 6.0. Okay, so before I add anything, I want to drop my decimal down. Good. So now I'm just going to add. 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 8 is 25. 25 plus 6 is 31. 31 plus 9 is 40. 40 plus 6 is 46. And 46 plus 0 is 46. So I'm going to drop my 6 and carry my 4. All right, I'm going to add my 4 in at the end. So I'm just going to add all my numbers and then add my 4. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 plus 5 is 20. 20 plus 5 is 25. 25 plus 5 is 30. 30 plus 6 is 36. Now let's come back up and add my 4. 36 plus 4 is 40. Now that I've added all those numbers up, I need to take and I need to divide 40.6 by the amount, how many numbers I added together. Well, I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So I'm going to divide 40.6 by 7. So we have a decimal in our house. If I have a decimal in my house, what do I want to do before I do any division? I want to pop that decimal right on up. Pop it up. Pop that decimal right on up. All right. So now what I'm going to do is now I am going to divide. How many times does 7 go into 4? 0. How many times does 7 go into 40? 5. 5 times 7 is 35. I got to borrow. I can't do 0 minus 5, so I'm going to borrow from the 4 and make that a 3. Put my 1 in front of that. That makes it a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring my 6 down. How many times does 7 go into 6? 8. 8 times 7 is 56. 56 minus 56 is 0. So 7 times 5.8 is, 7 divided by 40.6 is 5.8. So my mean, my average of the technical scores is 5.8. All right, guys, what I want for you to do now is I want you to pause the video and I want you to find the mean for the presentation marks. And when you find that, the presentation marks I'm going to do in red are right here on this column. And then I want you to unpause and I want you to watch me solve it. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you solved it and you got your answer. I'm going to solve it quickly here. So I have 5.4, 5.7, 5.6, 5.3, 5.5, 5.3, and 5.7. So I'm going to add all those up. And since hopefully you have already added it up, I'm not going to do the math. I'm going to just tell you that all of those numbers added together are 38.5. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 7 into 38.5. Once again, I hope you did this and you saw that my final answer is going to be 5.5. So my average for the presentation marks is 5.5. All right, we're going to skip the last one. But if you wanted to find the mean total score awarded by the judges, what you would need to do is you would need to add the technical marks and the presentation marks together, and then that would give you the total score. So you add those together and it would give you the total. So what I want for you to do, if you would like, and I think you should, is I want you to pause this video and I want you to figure out what the mean for the total score, that last column, would be. And then pause to see if you got it, unpause and see if you got it correct. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you did it. I'm just going to do this quite quickly so you can see what your answers should have been. Remember, if you have any questions on this or you struggled with any part of this, I do have office hours on Wednesday. Now, I know that it is a long time since Wednesday, so if you struggled, please do not wait till Wednesday. Please reach out to me at any time, and we can set up a time to conference. But the mean total for the total should have been... The mean total score awarded by the judges was 11.3. All right, guys, so let's keep going with these numbers and let's figure out what the median for all of these numbers are going to be. Remember, in order to find the median score for our technical marks, we need to put them in order from least to greatest. So let's look. We're looking here first at technical marks. So all of my numbers except this last one is a 6. So I'm dealing with 5. So that means I need to go behind the decimal in order to see what number comes first. 9, 8, 8. Smaller. 6 is the smallest so far. 9's bigger than 6. 6 is the smallest. So that means I have 5.6 first. Where's 5.6 there? Do I have any more 5.6s? I do. Okay, so now do I have any 5.7s? Go fish. Any 5.8s? I do right there. Any more 5.8s? I do another one. Any more 5.9? Any 5.8s? No. Any 5.9s? Yes. One. Any more 5.9s? I got another one there. And any more? Nope. So then that leaves me with my last number, 6.0. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out what number is in the middle. Like I said before, I'm going to actually just go one number in the front, one number in the back. I like doing this a little better because it's easy. It's a little less math for you. And I don't know, for some reason I find that going first to back to first to back is kind of fun. So what is my median for my technical scores? It is 5.8. All right, so now let's find what the median is for my presentation marks. So my smallest number, I don't have, all of my first numbers are 5, so that's nice. That means I need to go to the numbers behind the decimal. So far 4 is my smallest, 7's bigger, 6 is bigger. Oh, 3's smallest, 3's my smallest number so far. 5's bigger, that's another 3, and that's 7's bigger. So that means my very first number is going to be 5.3. Where's my 5.3? There's one. Oh, and then there's another 5.3. All right, do I have any 5.4s? You betcha. 5.4. Any more? Nope. Any 5.5s? Yep, there's one. Any 5.6s? Yep, got one. Any 5.7s? I do. Any more 5.7s? Let's see. Yep, my final number is 5.7. All right, good. So now what I need to do is I need to find the number in the middle, median, middle, median. So once again, I'm going to go first number, last number, and kind of mark those off. So if I go one in the back, I go one in the front, one in the back, one in the front, one in the back, and that leaves me with that number, 5.5. So my median then is 5.5. All right, so what I want for you to do now is I want for you to practice and see if you can find what the median for the total scores are. Now remember, on our last page, we already calculated the totals. Let me grab those and copy them and copy it right on over. Copy and paste. There we go. So here are the total scores we calculated in the last question. So go ahead, pause the video, and then come back and write. Let's see if our answers match. All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully by this point you have found the correct answer. I'm going to just do this quickly so you can make sure. And if you did get it wrong, you can see maybe where you went wrong. All right, 11.5, and then finally 11.7. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So my final answer is 11.4. All right, so now we found the median for all three groups. Let's move on and find what is my mode. So in order to find the mode, I'm actually going to borrow this. And I'm going to come right on over here so I can find the mode for my technical marks. All right, so we are going to see how many groups I have. So I have 5.6 and 5.6, 5.8 and 5.8. So there's 2 there, 2 there, 2 5.9s, and 1 6.0. So the mode is the most. What number repeats the most? Well, this time there's actually 3. 5.6, 5.8, and 5.9. All right, so let's go back and actually go ahead and copy these numbers on over. That'll help us so we don't have to figure all of that out. Remember, when you're doing this on your paper, you don't have to keep figuring it out over and over and over again. Use the information you have from previous. That's only going to help you out. All right, so let's group all of my groups to get number groups. All my repeats. All right, well, here's 2 5.3s, 1 5.4, 1 5.5, 1 5.6, and 2 5.7s. So what numbers repeat the most, mode most? 5.3 and 5.7. All right, guys, just like how you did last time, I want you to pause the video at this time, and I want for you to find what the median for the total score is going to be. All right, so pause the video and unpause it when you find out. All right, guys, welcome back. So let's go ahead and let's solve and find what the mode is for the total. So there's actually 2 of those guys, 1 of those, and 1 of those. So what is my mode? Well, it's actually 2 numbers again, 10.9 and 11.4. All right, guys, good job. So we're almost done. Let's go to find the range, our last slide for today. All right, we're going to find the range. Remember, in order to find the range, it is the greatest minus the smallest. or the least, sorry. Let's actually write least. Greatest minus least. Now, I know I'm going to be finding the greatest minus the least on all of these, so might as well go ahead and we'll copy this guy. So that way we don't have to keep copying it. Copy, paste. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the last slide so we can figure out for the technical scores, what was my greatest number and what was my least. Well, my smallest number is going to be my first number and my biggest number is going to be my last number. So 5.6 is my smallest and 6.0 was my greatest. So let's come off to the side and do 6.0 minus 5.4. Remember, when you're subtracting, you want to line the numbers up by the decimal place. I can't do 0 minus 4, so I'm going to borrow from that 6 and make it a 5. Put my 1 there. 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 5 is 0. So my range for my technical scores is 0.6. What about for my presentation marks? Let's come back to our slide. My smallest number is my first number. That's 5.3. And my greatest number is my last number, which is 5.7. So let's come down here again and line 5.7 and 5.3 up by their decimals so I can subtract. Pop my decimal down. 7 minus 3 is 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. So my range is 0.4. All right, now we're coming to the time where I want you to pause the video and come back. I want you to pause the video, find the range for the total score, unpause the video, and see if you got it right. All right, welcome back, guys. I hope at this point you have found that the range for the total score is 0.8. In case we didn't get it right, I'm going to come over here real quick and solve it just so you can see what you did wrong. All right, so there we go. And that is how you find mean, median, mode, and range. Don't feel overwhelmed right now. There is quite a bit when it comes to mean, median, mode, and range. What you're going to do now is hop back on over to Teams and complete your assignment. Remember, math is all about practice, so we got to practice, practice, practice to get better. All right, guys, please remember, I miss you so much. I wish we were together in class, but we're not. So until we are.